Ooh, hey, what's up, everybody? Trump and Zelensky meeting was savage. And normally I'm ripping cards on this channel, but I have to say, I watched a clip of this earlier, and this meeting was one of the most interesting meetings I've ever seen. So I am reacting to Asmongold reacting to Trump and Zelensky. Let's take a look. Has everybody noticed that all of these new age world leaders, Zelensky, who's the Canadian Prime Minister? Trudeau, and then you got Gavin Newsom. Like, all of these guys are like these brown-haired, good-looking kind of guys in their mid-30s. Like, every one of them kind of has the same profile, and they're all sort of like liberal-leaning. By the way, I'm eating some chocolate chip cookies. Oh, we can't hear them? Oh, crap. Desktop audio.
We had little negotiations.
Oh, wait. That's what's going on. Can't hear them. Sorry. We had this figured out. Application. Sorry about this. Here we go. Okay. There we go. Let's start this over.
Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No,
Can
you've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning.
I know.
Man, how old is Zelensky? If I had to guess, 53.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to have
47?
President Zelensky of
He's a young
Ukraine.
guy.
And we've been working.
I mean, to be honest, like, I mean, you've been in a war for the last 3 years. I feel like, you know, that's like a 3x multiplier. So I feel like I was still kind of right, you know? Fuck.
very hard, very close. So we've actually known each other for a long time. We've been dealing with each other for a long time, and very well. We had little negotiation spat.
If you know, you know, right?
But that worked out great, I think, for both countries. I think for the world, actually, beyond both countries. And we have something that is a very fair deal. And we look forward to getting in and digging and working and getting some of the rare earth.
So what is
But it
this
means we're going to be
deal that they're
inside, and
trying
it's a big commitment from the United
get?
States,
I mean,
and
it's
we
like
appreciate
some
working with you very much. And we will continue to do that.
type
We
deal
have
or
had
something?
some very good discussions with Russia. I spoke with President Putin, and we're going to try and bring this to a close. It's something that you want and that he wants. We have to negotiate a deal, but we've started the confines of a deal, and I think something can happen. The big thing is the number of soldiers, mostly at this point, but soldiers being killed. You're losing thousands of soldiers. So on both sides, we're losing a lot of soldiers.
See all those videos of people, like Ukraine and Russia using drones to like drop bombs on people in trenches? Those are the craziest videos.
And we want to see
Audio
it stop,
problematic?
and we want to see the money get put to
Asmongold had a problem with his audio as well.
different kinds of use, like rebuilding, the
Oh,
rebuilding.
now his is quiet.
And we're going to be working very hard, but we've had a lot of very good conversations. I will say, until we came along, the Biden administration didn't speak to Russia whatsoever.
Should be even better, right?
They didn't speak to anybody. They just allowed this to continue. And I will say that I'll say
I should be
in
an
front
audio
of you,
guy.
you've heard me say it 1,000 times. If I were president, this war would have never happened.
I've heard
we
that.
would have had a deal
I've heard that
negotiated for you
before.
without
Yeah.
having to go through what you've gone through.
Yeah.
But your soldiers have been unbelievably brave. We've given them great
Asmongold
equipment, but
drinking Coke.
somebody has to use the equipment. They've been unbelievably brave, and we give them great credit. This was supposed to be over very quickly, and here we are 3 years later. So I give tremendous credit to your generals and your soldiers and yourself in the sense that it's been very hard fighting, very tough fighting. They're great fighters. And you have to be very proud of them from that standpoint. But now we want to get it over with. It's enough, right? We want to get it over with. So
Zelensky doesn't look like he
it's an
wants
honor
it
to have you here. Thank you very much for coming. We're going to sign the agreement at the conference in the East Room in a little while.
If that comes on,
right after
we'll
lunch.
pause and go back to
And
that.
we'll be having lunch together. We're also discussing some other things.
I wonder if they're
And
still
we
gonna have lunch.
appreciate everybody being here. It's somewhat of an exciting moment, but the really exciting moment is when they stop the shooting and we end up with a deal. And
He
I think we're
canceled
fairly close to
lunch,
getting
too?
that, and, an honor to have you, and please, I'd like to say something.
No, thank you so much, Mr. President. Thank you for invitation. And really, I hope that this first document, will be first step to real security guarantees for Ukraine, our people, our children. I really count on it. And of course, we count that America will not stop support. Really, for us, it's very important to support and to continue it. I want to discuss it with details further during our conversation, and of course, the infrastructure or security guarantees. Because for today, I understand what Europe is ready to do, and of course, I want to discuss with you what United States will be ready to do. And I really count on your strong position to stop Putin. And you said that in.
We have a cookie down. Well,
Enough with the war. I think that is very important, Ben, to say these words to Putin at the very beginning of war, because he is a killer. And
what's that? I took like around 5 of them. They're bite size. 5 bites. That's a good number.
terrorists. But I hope that together we can stop him. But for us, it's very important to, to save our country, our values, our freedom, and democracy, and of course, no compromises with the killer about our territories. But it will be later. And of course, what I wanted,
I think they're going to have to compromise with Putin, whether they like it or not. That's just what I think.
yeah,
I mean, because it's a nuclear superpower country. I mean, they can't really push it. They have to, right? I mean,
There's
it's
no way he's gonna get out of it
like
without a
they
compromise.
shouldn't have to. Like, I agree with Zelensky that Putin is a fucking awful piece of shit, but I can't see how you. I can't see how you can't.
How are you gonna get out of it?
He has to get something out of it, right? There's no winning this. Yeah, I don't think that there's a win condition here.
There's no way you're gonna get out of it without.
spoke about it by phone.
That's
about the drones production. We have very good drones production. I think the best one in the world for today because of the war. Yes, and of course we need very much the air defense. You have the best air defense in the world, and really you helped us under attacks of Russians. And I want to speak how we can exchange the licenses. We're open to share the licenses of all our drones with you, of course, with the United States. And we need licenses for quick production of air defense. Even after the war, we need our nation to be calm, that we are secure. So that's why we need this air shield. And of course, about this, I want to speak about the contingents. I think that France and UK already spoke to you, and we know that Europe is ready, but without the United States, they will not be ready to be as strong as we need. And the last point, last not least, about exchange, about our people and children. And you know that these crazy Russians, that they stolen 20,000 of children, Ukrainian children. They changed their names, they changed their families, relatives, and Now they're in Russia. We want to bring them back. And really, it's a big dream, task and goal for me and our warriors. By the way, Mr. President, we exchanged, released more than 4,000 warriors from Russian prison, but there are thousands more in the prison. I wanted to share with you some images.
Let me go ahead. It seems like we're having a little bit of lag. I'm going to go ahead and close this and then reopen it, okay?
Okay. Let's get past Asmongold's technical difficulties.
Thousands more in the prison. I wanted to share with you some images. How it's I've just can I now?
Yeah,
Have I?
please.
Some minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. Just you to understand in what circumstances, in what situation they are, and what the attitude of Russia to our prisoners. That guys, just you before and after. And you see before and after, just you to understand. Now thousands of such guys, ladies and men, there, and that, so they don't eat, they beat them, and they, you know, they do a lot of you know, bad things. So out of, even during the war, there are rules. Everybody knows there are rules during the war. So these guys, they don't have any rules. You see that 50, 60 kilograms left, and a lot of such things. And I didn't want to show you what the changes with images of children, because I will just share with you. And, I mean, it's looking tragic.
Yep, that's tough stuff.
Yeah, I wanted very much to give you, and you see it.
Yeah.
This is pastor, by the way. They stolen pastors because it's not Russian church. They stolen pastors and moved pastors to the prison. At the end of last year, we brought 3 pastors, and we could exchange them.
Yeah.
And this is pastor, you see.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. So I mean, this I wanted to show you, and this. So thank you very much.
We want to get that ended, right?
Yeah. Of course, we
And I
want.
think we will. And
We have to, of course.
do you have any questions, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. With the, how much money is the U.S. going to put into the fund that is being created today, and how does this provide long-term security for Ukraine?
Well, we don't know exactly how much, because we're going to be putting some money in a fund that we're going to get from the raw earth that we're going to be taking and sharing in terms of revenue. So it's going to be a lot of money will be made from the sale and from the use of raw earth. And as you know, our country doesn't have much raw earth. We have a lot of oil and gas, but we don't have a lot of the raw earth. And what we do have is protected by the environmentalists, but that can be unprotected. But still, it's not very much. They have among the best in the world in terms of raw earth. So we're going to be using that, using it for all of the things we do, including AI and including weapons and the military, and it's really going to very much satisfy our needs. So it's something that just worked out really well. We have a lot of oil, and we have a lot of gas, we have a lot, but we don't have raw earth. So this has just about every component of the raw earth that we need for computers, for all
Everything
of the things
seems
we
fine
do.
so far.
This puts us in great shape.
And long-term security for Ukraine. How does this provide?
I think they're going to have great luck. I think once we make the agreement, that's going to be 95% of it. They're not going to go back to fighting. I've spoken with President Putin, and I feel very strong. I've known him for a long time, and I feel very strongly that they're very serious about it, and we'll make a deal. And when the deal is made, I don't think, we talk about security. Everyone's talking about the other day, all they talked about was security. I said, let me make the deal first. I have to make the deal first. I don't worry about security right now. We have to have a deal, because right now, last week, 2,000 soldiers died on both sides.
This is max quality.
2,000. And they're losing 1,000, 2,000, 2,000. And they're losing
Now it is.
1,000, 2,000, 3,000 a week. So as we sit here and we talk, people are getting shot and dying on the battlefield. And, you know, they're not American soldiers, but they're Russian soldiers and they're Ukrainian soldiers, and we want to be able to stop it. And we want to be able also to spend money on other things. We don't want to, this is a tremendous amount of money. And what the Biden administration did was terrible.
hand out
They were
money.
giving money, but he had no security on the money. Europe, as you know, gave much less money, but they had security. It was in the form of a loan. They get their money back, and we didn't. And now, at least we're protected because the American taxpayer has to be protected too. But this is an incredible agreement for Ukraine because we have a big investment in their country now, and what they have, very few people have. And we're able to really go forward with very, very high-tech things and many other things, including weaponry that we're going to use in many locations, but that we need for our country.
Mr. President,
This allows us to do that.
will you continue sending military aid?
Yes, go ahead, please.
If I can just, yes. In the document, there is one of the very important points. If we speak about business and investment, we never had LNG terminals in Ukraine. This document will open. I mean, the next documents, but anyway, here we see in the framework, we see really goodwill for this. LNG terminals for us is very important, and I think for security of European continent. We have the biggest storage, gas storage. We have the biggest in Europe. Yes, yes, and we can use it. Use it for LNG. Use it for LNG.
It's funny. It's funny for me to see this because we have MAGA Arses, no issues. MAGA show with no issue with raw earth. You're getting mad about this. I've been pro-Ukraine the entire time. You're literally fighting with a ghost. You're mad at me for something I'm not doing. Straight up, like you're mad over nothing. It's not even happening.
And we will do it. And really, we can help Europe because Europe really helped. President Trump said that they made less support, but they are our friends and they are our very supportive partners. They really gave a lot, Mr. President. They did.
They gave a lot, but they gave much less.
No.
Much less.
No. No.
Oh my God.
President Trump, you have repeatedly called the deal with Ukraine as a historical one.
I think this is the beginning of the end.
Yep.
And as a president of the United States, you make historical decisions in other issues which affect America and other world. So what place in the world history do you want to take? And do you associate yourself with any famous historical figures?
Yeah, I'd say George Washington, Abraham Lincoln. I would say I'm far superior to George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. Now, you know I'm only kidding, right? Because when I say that, the fake news is going to go wild. They're going to say he considers himself to be better than Washington.
Oh, God.
But you never know. You never know. I don't compare myself to anybody. I'm here to do a job. We've had a great 35 days or whatever it might be, a month, a little more than a month.
Split farming? Yeah.
Accomplished tremendous amounts. Not only this would be a very great achievement if we could get the war stopped and get them back to normalization. I think that's going to happen. We've had very good talks on both sides, as you know. But I think we've done a very good job, just generally. If you look at all of the things we've done in 30 days, they're saying there's never been a opening for a president. The first month, there's never been a first month like we've had. And this is one of the very important things. This, to me, is one of the most important things because we have tremendous death taking place as we speak. And I don't want to have that. You know, think of the parents, think of the parents, whether they're in Russia or Ukraine, think of the parents of all these people being killed needlessly.
They came to our territory.
Should have never started. This would have, if I were president, this would have never started.
Mr. President, will you continue sending military aid to Ukraine after the U.S. signs this agreement with Ukraine?
Yeah, we're going to be continuing.
President Zelensky, do you feel like the U.S. is on your side? That the President Trump is on your side at this moment?
What do you think?
He wants to know, do you think that sort of a stupid question. I guess we wouldn't be here if I wasn't.
I think that the United States on our side from the very beginning of occupation, and I think that President Trump on our side, and of course, I'm sure that the United States President will not stop support. This is crucial for us. It's important for us. Yes, and Putin.
So it says here, troop deaths and injuries in Ukraine were near 500,000. Oh, that's wounded too. So, Russia military casualties, 300,000. Oh wait, 120,000 deaths, 180,000 injured troops. So a lot more Russians seem to have died in this conflict. I mean, that's not to say that they're right or anything, but seems like a lot of Russian people are dying.
The president speaks about the people and the soldiers which are dying, but they came to our territory, they came to our land. They began this war, and they have to stop. And I think this is the question, with really the most important question. Can President Trump, I hope yes, with some other allies, to stop Putin, withdraw these enemies, our enemy, withdraw these troops from our land? And I think that you asked about the history, I think that if President, or when, he will stop Putin, if President Trump will bring peace to our country, I think he will be on this wall.
We've had very, very good talks.
President Zelensky just said that there will be no compromises with Vladimir Putin. I just wanted to ask both of you, firstly, are there compromises that you think that President Zelensky is going to have to make? And President Zelensky, is there anything that you might be thinking that you may be able to offer or bring to the table?
I don't see how this ends without compromises, realistically.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't.
I don't see how this ends. I mean, you can't.
For example, elections. Thank you.
I think you're going to have to always make compromises. You can't do any deals without compromises. So certainly he's going to have to make some compromises, but hopefully they won't be as big as some people think you're going to have to make. That's all. That's all we can do. I'm here as an arbitrator, as a mediator to a certain extent between two parties that have been very hostile, to put it mildly.
Russia invaded, what compromise? The problem is that you're right about everything. Russia is the aggressor. They're the ones in the wrong, and I think that they're the ones who should not get anything out of it. I'm like very against that, right? And I think you're right, but I just don't see. I don't see how you end it without the compromise period, right? I mean, it doesn't matter who's right or wrong or what's good or bad. I just don't see it ending without a compromise. That's just it, right? I mean, I'm just being realistic. That's not what should happen. Don't get it twisted. That's not what should happen.
They've been very hostile. This has been a vicious war. This has been a vicious war. You know, it's a very level battlefield, and those bullets go out, and as I've said many times, we were talking about it with Pete, many times the only thing stopping those bullets is a human body. And in the case we're talking about, generally young human bodies are stopping a lot of bullets.
It's an awful spot to be in.
Level.
Yeah.
That's why it's great farmland. It's great land. It's great farmland, but there's very little protection against the bullets that are being, and other things that are being shot. So all I can do is see if I can get everybody at the table and get an agreement. And I think we're going to end up with an agreement. Otherwise, I wouldn't probably be even here today.
Mr. President, I've got two questions.
I don't know why this is so laggy.
Ultimately, your legacy will be the peacemaker and not the president that led this country into another war and ended foreign wars. And I've got a question.
I hope it will. I mean, I hope I'm going to be remembered as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing if we could do this. I'm doing this to save lives more than anything else.
Is the video?
Second is to save a lot of money.
I feel like it's the base video too.
I consider that to be far less important.
Is Forbes okay?
So I hope I'm going to thank you, Brian, for that question. It was a nice question. I hope I'll be known and recognized as a peacemaker. This would be a great thing to solve. This is a very dangerous situation. You know, this could lead to a third world war. This was headed in the wrong direction. If this election were lost, if we didn't win this election, and by the way, we won it by a lot. That was a mandate. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote by millions and millions of votes. We won everything. The districts, you look at the areas of red, take a look at a map. This was a big mandate, and this was one of the things I said, we're going to get this thing settled. If we didn't win, I think this could have very well ended up in a third world war, and that would not have been a good situation. What was your second
And
question?
my second question for President Zelensky, why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest, why don't you wear a suit? You're at the highest level in this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit. Just want to see if do you own a suit?
Yeah, problems.
A lot of Americans have problems with you not
Really?
respecting the dignity of this office.
I will wear a costume after this war will finish.
Okay.
Yes, maybe one.
Maybe something like this.
Something like
Yes,
yours.
sir.
Yes.
That'd be great.
Maybe something better. I don't know. We will see. Maybe something.
I think this is kind of an issue that I think Zelensky has a good reason for not wearing a suit, and it's because he does it, like the idea is that he's doing it in solidarity of the people that are like in like his country that are fighting. But I think probably the issue is that since
I don't know why the guy is ragging on him for not wearing a suit. I mean, you know, Elon was just in the White House wearing a t-shirt and a jacket and a hat. So, I mean, why does this guy have a problem with Zelensky not wearing a suit?
since he's not really like very like super proficient with English, it seems, that he's not able to answer that in the question. It was, I think that like, basically, I think that you could have given an answer to this question that would have made that reporter look like a pretentious asshole. But I don't know if he really was able to do that because of the language difference, right?
I mean, I think he did. He's like, what? Should I wear something like
cheaper than, yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, President Trump. You said yesterday that you have...
Are you going to send more arms to Ukraine in case there's no peace?
Yeah, we're going to have arms to Ukraine, yeah, sure. Hopefully I won't have to send very much because hopefully we're going to have it finished.
Yep.
We're looking forward to finishing this quickly. We're not looking forward to sending a lot of arms. We're looking forward to getting the war finished so we can do other things. But we very much appreciate the agreement because we needed what they had, and we're treating, you know, our country is now treated fairly. Biden didn't do that. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. This should have never happened. This should have never started.
I wonder which of the arms manufacturers were responsible for sending to Ukraine. That's what I'd be interesting. Follow the money.
But, you know, sure, the answer is yes, but hopefully we won't have to send much because I'm looking forward to getting it done quickly, very quickly.
Does that mean you'll provide security guarantees, Mr. President?
I don't want to talk about security yet because I want to get the deal done. You know, you fall into the same trap like everybody else. A million times you say it over and over. I want to get the deal done. Security is so easy. That's about 2% of the problem. I'm not worried about security. I'm worried about getting the deal done. The security is the easy part. Security is very nice. Everybody stops shooting. And now will Europe put people there? I know France is going to. I know the UK is going to. I know other countries are going to, and they happen to be right next door. We haven't committed, but we could conceivably. You know, we have security in a different form. We'll have workers there digging, taking the raw earth so that we can create a lot of great product in this country. So in that sense, you have something, but we haven't determined that yet. I will say, in speaking to France and in speaking to, and they were here, as you know, last week and just the other day, they have committed to a lot of security. I don't think you're going to need much security. I think once this deal gets done, it's over. Russia's not going to want to go back, and nobody's going to want to go back. When this deal ends, I really believe this deal is going to be over.
Yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Mr. President, thank you.
The reporter who asked that suit question was just being a dick. I mean, you know, he's in the middle of a war, so I don't feel like he thinks it's right to dress up like a politician, you know. I don't see a big deal of him not wearing a suit in the White House. That reporter, why aren't you wearing a suit? Don't you know?
You hosted Macron and Keir Starmer at the White House this past week, both of whom praised your courage and conviction to lead the pathway towards peace.
Yes.
Part of that involved, though, re-engaging Russia in diplomatic relations, something that previous leaders lacked the conviction to do so. What gave you the moral courage and conviction to step forward and lead that?
Well, I love this guy. Who are you with?
One American News, sir.
Well, that's why I like him. One American News does a great job. I like the question. I think it's a very good question. It's a pathway to peace. It's a pathway.
I have the absolute key to being a reporter in the White House. It's President Trump. The tie, first of all, that you're wearing is fantastic. And you've done very great things. You won all the states, and now you're sitting here with another world leader who sings your praises. So tell me, what do you want to do with blah, blah, blah? And then, boom, President Trump. Great question, great question.
To getting something solved. And I feel that as the head of this country, I have an obligation to do that. Plus, you know, we're very much involved. We got involved. It's too bad we got involved because there should have been no involvement, because there should have been no war. And there shouldn't have been October 7th. That would have never happened. As you know, Iran was broke. They had no money to give to Hezbollah. They had no money to give to Hamas. They were stone cold broke. And then under Biden, they became rich as hell. They went
I've
from
heard that before.
no money
Yeah.
to $300 billion in a period of 4 years. And they gave a lot of that money away, and you see what happened. And that's a real mess also that we hope to be able to solve. But no, I appreciate your question very much. I feel I have an obligation to try and do something to stop the death.
That would be good.
If I can answer. Yes, if I can answer. Sorry. Please. Please.
And I do like your clothing, by the way.
Yeah, really?
You don't have to. I think he's a great guy. By
There you go. Trump said, I think you got great clothing, by the way. You know, he said, that reporter, he's a great guy, but looking at this thing right here, and it says Biden handed over $16 billion to Iran. About 2 months ago. So this is in 2023. Biden agreed to hand over $6 billion as part of a hostage deal to Tehran. Shortly after, Hamas, which receives hundreds of millions of dollars from Iran annually, launched an unprecedented and horrific attack on Israel on October 7th. And yeah, so let's see here. But President Biden instead allowed Iran to access an additional $10 billion. That is a total of $16 billion Iran can access, which is $1.7 billion more than the aid package to Israel that the House Republicans passed and that President Biden and Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer are refusing to take up. Wow. So, yeah, I mean, let's see here. Factcheck.org. Let's see what factcheck.org says. So, anyways, I mean, there's all sorts of different words on how they got money, but they exchanged prisoners in a deal that was unfreezing $6 billion in Iranian assets, basically, and $10 billion in energy sales to Iraq. So, I mean, you know, October 7th might not have happened.
By the way, but I don't know if you two like each other, but you know what? I think he's dressed. I think he's dressed.
I like this guy. I don't know.
I think he's dressed beautifully.
So I have more serious things than answer on such
Yes,
questions.
sure, that's
I will
okay.
answer on more serious
That's a good
questions if I can.
That's good.
Yeah. So please, about security guarantees and about just ceasefire. We can't just speak about ceasefire and speak and speak. It will not work. Just ceasefire will not never work, because I'm like a president. I have this experience, and not only me. Ukraine before my presidency, from the 2014, Putin broken 25 times. 25 times he broken his own signature. 25 times he broken ceasefire.
But he never broke to me. He never broke to me.
No, you were the president. You were the president during.
He never broke to me.
In 2016, you've been the president, Mr. President. You've been the president, but he had.
He wasn't a president until 2017, right? I mean, because I'm just saying.
Of course, not with you, but he had during those periods. He had conversations with our side.
Yeah, I mean, technically,
and we
right.
had Normandy format, you know, the France, Germany, Ukraine, and Russia, and he broken 25 times. That's why we will never accept just ceasefire. It will not work without security guarantees. Security guarantees, maybe President is right about this document and other, but this document is not enough. Strong army is enough, because his soldiers afraid, Putin's soldiers afraid of our soldiers when we're strong enough. If we are not strong enough, if we are empty, if our storage is empty, we can't defend our land. Today, you know, he knows that we have all the world knows that we have meeting. Yes, why he's using ballistic? Putin today using ballistic on our hospitals, schools, and etc. Ballistic. So he knows that we are here, and that President Trump is really have goodwill to stop this war. And you hear now the president. So why he's using? So he doesn't want to stop. He doesn't want. But I hope that we will do it. Really, we'll do it. Security. When we speak about security guarantees, when the Europeans are ready for contingents, they need USA backstop. If there will not be United States, we will not never have any contingents, strong contingents from the Europeans, because they don't want to divide alliance connection between the United States and the main and strongest ally and Europeans. And this is crucial. This is important. That's what we want to speak about very much. This is very important. And air defense. So air defense, really, we have big deficit with all these systems, and we need to provide this. We need it very much. Otherwise, Putin will never stop, and will go further and further. He doesn't want. He hates us. You know, it's not about me. He hates Ukrainians. He thinks that we are not a nation. He thinks, and he shared these thoughts. I think maybe with your team also. I don't know, but with all the Europeans, in media, officially and not, he always said that there is no such country, such nation, such language, and such life like Ukrainian. No, he really doesn't respect all the Ukrainians, and he wants.
I haven't never seen an interview with Putin. Is that true? Is that true or not? I'm not sure.
Destroy us. And you are right, Mr. President. That's 2%. This document, maybe other documents. It's a very good start, very good, but it will not enough to stop this person.
Should Russia pay to rebuild Ukraine?
I think that, I mean, Zelensky makes a really good point. I mean, if Putin already violated agreements 25 times, I mean, I just, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
yeah, at least 3 times. Yeah. And Trump is saying, well, not while I was the president, which is like, okay, great. But like, you're not always going to be the president, right? I mean, unless, you know, we have that thing happen. But basically, like, Yeah, mixed chat response. No, that's fine. If people want to disagree about this, it's fine. I don't have an issue with people disagreeing or whatever.
Mr. President, under these
they have to pay this question. This is the rule. This is the rule of the war. This is the rule of the war. During all the centuries, all the history, this is the rule of the war. Who began, those pay. This is the rule. Putin began this war. He has to pay all money for innovation. He has to pay. Of course, some Russian assets, what we have in Europe, about 300 billion, we can use them. We can use for innovation and buy military support from the United States also. We can do it, but it's not enough. It's not enough.
Under these circumstances, do you envision a trilateral summit with Putin and President Zelensky?
Wait, 1 second.
I asked this question that you didn't like because I wanted to know if you want to position yourself in the middle between Russia and Ukraine, or on the Ukraine side.
No, I'm in the middle. I want to solve this thing. I'm for both. I want to get it solved. And it's wonderful to speak badly about somebody else, but I want to get it solved. If we can solve it, great. If we can't solve it, they're going to have to fight it out, and who knows what's going to happen. But I want to see it get solved.
May I follow up? One more question about U.S. troops.
Yeah, I just don't see how this gets solved without capitulating to Putin. I don't. And like, it's very clear that Biden couldn't solve it because it wasn't solved and he was president for like 2 years while it was happening, right? So like, I don't...
How are they going to solve it?
I don't know what to do, right? I don't know what you can possibly do for this. They have to compromise? Yeah, I feel like they have to as well.
Europe. After Russian invasion of Ukraine, your predecessor sent additional troops to Eastern Europe, including Poland, my country. Are you committed to keeping these troops on the eastern flank of NATO in the future?
I'm very committed to Poland. I think Poland has really stepped up and done a great job for NATO. They, as you know, they paid more than they had to. They are one of the finest groups of people I've ever known. I'm very committed to Poland.
What about Baltics?
Poland's in a tough neighborhood, you know.
What about the Baltics?
The Baltics, they got a lot of, it's a tough neighborhood too. But we're committed. We're going to be very committed, and we're committed to NATO. But NATO has to step up, and the Europeans have to step up more than they have. And I want to see them equalize because they are in for far less than we're in. And they should be at least equal.
I've heard that before.
You understand that? Why is the United States, we have an ocean in between. Why is the United States in for so much more money and other things as Europe? With that being said, and as you said, they've also been obviously very helpful. But we have put in far more than they have. And I think they should equalize.
Mr. President,
please go ahead.
About the agreement again today, what changed between the first time that Secretary Vance gave President Zelensky the agreement and today for the signing?
We made a deal. So
what was the deciding factor?
I'm a business person. We made a deal. That's what changed. I didn't think we were going to make a deal, and we ended up making the deal, so that changed.
Mr. President, why and how do you envision a trilateral summit with President Zelensky and Putin?
I don't know, but well, they don't like each other. I can tell you that. Okay? They do not like each other. This is not a love match. And it's unfortunate. That's why you're in this situation.
Yeah, I could have guessed that.
The United States should not have allowed this to happen. Okay? The United States, run by a man that didn't know much, I'm going to be very nice, run by an incompetent person, very incompetent person, should never have allowed this to happen. I've stopped wars. I've stopped many wars. My people will tell you, I stopped wars that nobody ever heard about. I stopped wars before they ever started. You can look at some of, I could give you a lot of nations that would tell you right now they were probably going to war. I could tell you right now there's a nation thinking about going to war on something that nobody in this room has ever even heard about. Two smaller nations, but big, still big. And I think I've stopped it. But this should have never happened.
Sorry, just a second. About any negotiations. First of all, I want really to tell you, and I think that everybody understands that modern Ukrainians, nobody wants to stop this war. But that the future any negotiations, it's understandable that two sides of the war, not Russia and the United States, because this is not the war between Russia and the United States. This is war of Russia against Ukraine and Ukrainian people. So these two sides will be at the anyway will be at the negotiation table. Then of course United States, like the strongest partner of the Ukraine, and of course Europe. I think Europe is very important. I want to speak about it with the president. Yes, Europe is very important for us because we really defend Europe for today. All Europeans really recognize that we are defending the line, and they have real life, and our people are dying. That's why they helped us. And also, it's about the NATO. Yes, between, like the president said, you have big, nice oceans. Yes, between us. But if we will not stay, Russia will go further to Baltics and to Poland, by the way. But first to the Baltics. It's understandable for them because they've been in the USSR. You know, they've been one of the republics of the USSR.
That's I think that's the big thing that a lot of people are worried about, right? Because I think it's obvious the reason why. It's because of fucking Hitler in World War II. So like they're worried that like if they appease Putin, that he's just going to do it again and again and again and again, right? So like that's the concern.
What is the end goal with Putin? Like, I'm pretty sure he just wants to reinstate the USSR. Really, he wants all of those different countries that broke off the USSR back. I mean, he's looking for his glory days of, you know, when he was a child and when he grew up.
And Putin wants to bring them back to his empire. It's a fact. And when he will go there, if we will not stay, you will fight. Your American soldiers, it doesn't matter, do you have ocean or not, your soldiers will fight.
Mr. President, would you be willing to visit Ukraine, maybe Kyiv or Odessa, which is going to be a 30-year-old Black Sea?
It was my question.
I'm sorry.
I don't want to talk about Odessa now. Let's not talk about Odessa. I want to talk about making a deal, getting peace. We don't have to talk about Odessa, but a lot of cities have been destroyed. A lot of cities that are not recognizable. There's not a building standing.
No.
And a lot of things
Mr. President, you have to come and to look. No. We have very good cities. Yes, a lot of things have been destroyed, but mostly cities alive, and people work, and children go to school. Sometimes it's very difficult. Sometimes closer to front line, children have to go to underground schools or online, but we live. Ukraine is fighting, and Ukraine lives. This is very important. And maybe it's Putin is sharing this information that he destroyed us. No, he lost 700,000 people, 700,000 soldiers. He lost everything. Yes. So,
Mr. President, one more. I mentioned Poland.
Please go ahead.
When did you last speak with President Putin, and what did he say that?
A couple of days ago.
And what did he tell you that gave you the assurance that he wanted peace?
Well, that's what I do. My whole life is deals. I know pretty good, and
I mean, I'm a mind reader. And my psychic abilities tell me that the reason why he was able to reach an agreement with Putin is because he probably was okay with Putin maintaining or like keeping some of the land. That's what my psychic sense tells me.
Yeah, I think
now
that's
I could be wrong.
Let's get to the good stuff here.
And now I'm talking with my friends in Poland.
Okay, here we go.
I just told you I don't think that's going to happen. And if that
days ago,
yeah,
that's a new call, not the one that you.
I've spoken to him on numerous occasions.
All right.
Okay. How was the latest call? What did you discuss? How did it go?
Are you serious with that question?
I am. I'd love to know.
It went well. I think we're going to have a deal.
On the minerals deal, Mr. President, some of those minerals are in the east of Ukraine, not far from the front lines and in areas that Russia has occupied. Will you direct President Putin to withdraw his forces from those areas if there's U.S. interest?
Well, we'll take a look at the time. We have a lot of area It's a very big area we're talking about, so we'll take a look. I'll study that and I'll see.
And who would protect those minerals if they are U.S. interests? Would that be Ukrainian
They'll
forces?
be protected. The
European
agreement will protect them.
U.S.
The
forces?
agreement, yeah, we're signing an agreement. You know?
Right, but what if Russia tries to invade or there's Russian aggression in their spots?
I just told you, I don't think that's going to happen. And if that were going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal. If I thought that was going to happen, I wouldn't make a deal.
Some people may wonder why.
You know, they ought to focus on CNN on survival, not asking me these ridiculous questions. Focus on surviving, because CNN's got such low ratings, I don't think they're going to survive. Let's go. Yeah, please, go ahead.
I already mentioned Poland. Poland was under Russian control for decades after the Second World War. When I was a kid, I looked at the United States not only as a most powerful country, richest country in the world, the country that has great music, great movies, great muscle cars, but also as a force for good. And now I'm talking with my friends in Poland, and they are worried that you align yourself too much with Putin. What's your message for them?
Well, if I didn't align myself with both of them, you'd never have a deal. You want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, "Hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on the deal?" That doesn't work that way. I'm not aligned.
He's unfortunately right about this. Yeah, I mean, I don't see how that isn't true.
Aligned with Putin? I'm not aligned with anybody. I'm aligned with the United States of America and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred.
Let me guess, this is the beginning of the crash out?
Dang, now my camera's down
This-
for the crash out.
It's about to go down. All right. Here we go.
And I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, you know, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I can be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way, so that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
Hey, I want to respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden, of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Here we
here we go.
Oh boy, right? Yep, oh boy.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts, big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea.
Yeah.
So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact
2015.
2014.
2014 and 2014.
2014?
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
that's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversations, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed with him with gas contract. Gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people, and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy.
Oh, here we go.
I think that's a great point. I do. I'll be real, like it is, because how do you reason with a person that, and
yeah, who
the problem
goes back on,
Zach doesn't know how this ends, does he? Well, I feel like this is the
I'm offline.
Zelensky isn't signing anything. Oh no, I did see what the end of.
Why am I offline? What the fuck? And did I get kicked off or something? No, it says live right now. Oh, hang on. I guess I'm live. Sorry.
It is right. I woke up and I saw the beginning of it and everything, but yeah, I mean, how do you reason with a person who keeps lying to you?
You can't reason with anybody who.
Zelensky doesn't want peace. Well, what Zelensky is saying is that last time that they went for peace, they didn't get peace either. So he's saying that, like, there's two outcomes. There's we keep the land and, like, we keep fighting against this.
So the real outcome that needs to happen from this is that they sign a ceasefire and America helps Ukraine protect that line. I mean, that's really the only option, right? And the real question is how do you get Putin to agree to those terms? I mean, you're just going to have to strong arm him and say, look, don't fucking go across this line or you're toast. You're done. I mean, what else can you do? I mean, the guy's proven over and over again that he's not going to respect any sort of deal. So I think Zelensky's got a damn good point here.
Or we don't keep the land and then we have to fight against it anyway. That's like from his perspective, I think.
From an American standpoint, is like we sign this deal or we sign a deal with him that says, hey, we will help protect the lines of your country if you hook us up with a bunch of minerals. I don't know.
I think that's what's going on. I could be wrong.
It's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect,
Here we
I
go.
think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the
Here we go.
JD,
American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring it into this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean.
Which is, to be fair, that is accurate. And we have had recruitment problems with our military as well.
And don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have war.
Wait. Let me listen.
But you have nice ocean, and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly what
this.
you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right
it's true that he doesn't have the cards, and that is, well, he doesn't have leverage, right?
Now you're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country. That's backed you far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you? You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war,
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No, you've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion. We gave you military equipment, and you men are brave, but they had to use our military.
What about
If you didn't have our military equipment, if you didn't have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
maybe
new.
less.
2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I tell you.
Just say thank you.
I said a lot of times.
I think JD's being an asshole.
Yeah, he is.
Except that there are disagreements, and let's go.
He's being needlessly aggro.
Those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards. You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go, and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't with me.
For you what
that wasn't with me. That was with a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person.
I wonder, as I said at the beginning, right? I wonder how many of the conversations actually are like this behind closed doors.
I think probably a lot of them.
Because I bet a lot of them are.
I think a lot of them are like.
Yeah,
that.
all of them. Yeah, I really do. I wonder. 99%. Yeah. This is the backstage pass. Exactly. Yeah, I'm actually curious.
That was with Obama.
It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful.
Sheets of paper?
Because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry.
It's going to be a tough deal to make because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do you do then? I understand that it's a heated conversation right now.
What are you saying?
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they...
I also hate hypotheticals, but if Zelensky's telling the truth, it really isn't a hypothetical, it's a pattern. You know, like, I feel like this is a pretty... In general, like, I think hypotheticals are bad, and they're, like, generally just ways to frame a question to make somebody look good or bad.
Hypotheticals happen in every meeting. We hear it all the time. What if this happens? What if that happens? You can't plan for everything.
But I feel like this is kind of a pattern of behavior.
Obviously, if the U.S. brokers a ceasefire and then Putin breaks it, there's going to be consequences.
No, they broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through
Here's the problem, though, right? And, like, this is the issue that I wish Trump would look at it this way, too, is that, like, when Trump retires and, like, after in, what is it, 2028, right? And Trump's 2029, technically, he won't be the president anymore. Putin will probably still be the president. And maybe somebody else in Russia will be the president instead, and they'll probably be like Putin. That's what I would assume, right? And so he can't, like, even in his best case scenario, it's a 4-year pause. And, like, if you're a Ukrainian, do you really think that that's, like, so you're giving up more of your country for a best case scenario of a 4-year pause? You see what I'm saying? You can't trust Putin, though? Well, I'm like, time to prepare? Do you think they're going to prepare to fight Russia in 4 years? It's not going to happen. Save lives, bro? No, I think that what makes this interesting is the fact that there aren't any right answers.
Yeah,
I don't think that there's a right answer for this.
So you get the ceasefire. Then, as soon as you get that ceasefire, Putin breaks that ceasefire, it's over. I mean, over in a way where, you know, we come at them with some craziness for sure.
And, like, for example, like, well, there's a, okay, so that's not entirely true. There's a morally right answer, but that right moral answer, I don't think is on the table. So, like, because you just assume that's not going to happen, you're basically, like, deciding, like, pick your poison, right? Which problem are you going to try to have? So you give up? Pathetic? Well, I don't know about that. Is it giving up or not? Right, but what's the alternative? Well, I mean, I think that there's a few alternatives, right? We can keep fighting against Russia through proxy. We can try to negotiate it and have Russia get something so Putin can pull out of the war. I personally think that Putin doesn't want the war in Ukraine to keep going because I think that it personally makes him look bad.
Yeah,
I don't know about you guys, but I thought that Russia was going to roll Ukraine over in 2 weeks, and Ukraine fought back in a massively heroic way, and I didn't expect that at all. And I think that even back home, despite the propaganda and everything, I think that it probably does make Putin not look very good, that he hasn't immediately won this war and been able to overtake Ukraine and stop them. I think it probably lost him a lot of confidence with the Russian people. And now I'm just, again, I am making this up, by the way. I'm totally making this up. But I just, that's just what I think is going to happen, right? I don't understand every nuance of this, but I understand people. And I think this is the way that people would behave, and this is the way that people would think. And because of that, I think Putin wants to get out of it as well, because he knows it's probably to some degree a losing proposition, because he's been losing. And and by losing, well, actually, it's not losing. He hasn't been winning, right? And it's taken a bunch of his fucking money. It's made him look bad, but he can't pull out of it without getting something, because then that makes him look even worse. So I think there's a massive optics problem with that as well. That's at least how I see it. Economy's bad too.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine their economy's bad. I imagine
Russia is definitely not losing. they're not winning either. And I think that's enough.
If you lose more chess pieces than the other person, I think you're losing.
He lost 100%. Imagine losing your most power on one single invasion of Ukraine. Do you know that Ukraine gave up their nukes in exchange for security assurances? Here's the thing, is that's the entire problem, isn't it? It's that, so what Zelensky's saying is that if we capitulate and we get a negotiation with Putin, even if what Trump is saying is true, that Putin won't violate that agreement while Trump is president, Trump won't always be president. So it's just going to happen again, even if Trump is right. And that's the best case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And so no, he won't. We don't know. We don't know. But what we do know is that it's happened a bunch of times before then. So then what's the alternative?
Yeah, but we know if Ukraine joins NATO,
that's what I think makes this very interesting.
That is what starts World War
because
III.
there is no option that's not bad.
He said if Ukraine joins
Does that make
NATO,
sense?
then boom.
There are no good options. There are just different shades of bad.
Because what's
and
happening
different things that you're going to bet on.
They're trying to. What happened was the West is trying to get Ukraine to join NATO for years and years and years because it's a key piece of land. Like, if NATO is right on the doorstep of Russia, and they've got access to the Black Sea right there, and it's just a key piece of land. And if Ukraine joins NATO, then Russia essentially has some of their quote-unquote enemies right on their doorstep. So, it wouldn't be long. That would be like, for instance, say, Russia trying to get Canada or Mexico to join some force that they're a part of. Would the United States want that? I don't think so. So we can't get them to join NATO. Otherwise that, shakes some things up. And I think that's kind of what has provoked this whole war. Even back in 2014. Because they were trying to get Ukraine to join NATO. And, Putin, as a strategist, doesn't want that to happen. And that's why he keeps violating these agreements, I believe. Anyways, I think. Although, I am not the smartest guy in the room when it comes to this kind of stuff.
That's what I think. Okay, but what is Zelensky's ultimate point in saying that? That we should fight a forever war that potentially ends up nuclear? I think that's a great argument. That's true. And you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do you capitulate to a person who's broken multiple agreements in the past, or do you continue to escalate things with a nuclear superpower? I don't think there's really a W here. I'm sorry to say.
There is no W. It's only going to come through serious compromise.
A lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony. Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Mm-hmm. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam, and he had to go through that, and he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal.
Yeah, I just, like, I see what Trump is saying, but I just think it's a short-sighted perspective. I do. Like, I think it's just short-sighted. Because even if he's right, Ukraine is still fucked. Like, basically, the after effects of Crimea are one of the reasons why this is happening, right? Like, it's all happening in the context of that, and that happened before Trump was even talking about running for president.
Well,
so, like, this is going to be an ongoing thing for, like, probably decades.
Is because that
at least 10 years, I would say.
Right there on the water, it's the most key piece of land.
I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh? This is going to be great television, I will say that. All right. We'll see what we can do about putting it together. Thanks.
Yeah.
I need the back of this. We'll see. I don't know. Guys, come on. Let's move, please.
Damn. Russia was crazy.
Thank you.
Wow.
That was pretty crazy.
Oh God. Yeah. Wow. Let me see this. What is this here? Where's my money? Let's. Jesus Christ. Man.
Yeah.
Bro.
This is crazy.
Bro. Again, you know, when I said the content president, I meant it. It's not all good content.
It's crazy.
But it
content.
sure as hell is content.
It sure as hell is crazy. Man. Oh, so.
We will speak with President Zelensky in just a moment right here on set.
Oh, wow.
But first.
The first days of the war, how they came. Nobody wants in Ukraine. Yes, of course, nobody will forget it, but nobody wants to have, again, new wave of occupation. That's why when we say, no NATO, what security guarantees can we have? I'm not pushing, we are not pressuring, we're just asking, we're just sharing very clear messages to our friends, to Americans.
Right.
If you stay with us, thank you so much, but let's do the infrastructure of security guarantees. Let's just share with our people, just with our people, that America stay with us. That's great. We count on it. But just to share it and to say it, that's all.
How does the war end? How do you get to a deal?
That's a great
You're
question.
at a place right now where there is no deal. How do you get it back on track?
I think that Europe is ready for contingents and to help us with financing of big army, such big as we have now. This is our army, the part of security guarantees. Now we want just to find the place for our biggest strategic partner, for the United States, or United States will propose where and how the United States will give us security guarantees, what kind of and what part of volume of security guarantees. And when we will be ready with this, we will come to diplomacy. To diplomacy, yes, with Russians, Europeans, United States, and we. Four of us, I think this is real way, because with weapon, it's too long, it's not enough. We don't have enough weapon to push them out, and we don't see now, for now, we don't see really big volume of new support from the United States, but with all respect again. So for today, we'll be ready with security guarantee. Really, when I say NATO, it's not about that we are focusing on this word. It's about very understandable infrastructure of security guarantees. And we see that no NATO countries, for today, no NATO countries been under attacks.
Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican from South Carolina, he has been a big proponent of you and of Ukraine, said this today after the meeting.
Yeah, we saw this earlier.
I've never been more proud of the president. I was very proud of J.D. Vance. standing up for our country. We
What do y'all
want to
think
be
so
helpful.
far?
What I saw in the Oval Office was disrespectful.
What do y'all think?
And I don't know if we can ever do business with Zelensky again. He either needs to resign and send somebody over that we can do business with, or he needs to change.
So he says you need to consider resigning. Is that on the table?
I don't know if he will be happy after my words. This decision can do only people of Ukraine.
You're not going to step down to do a peace deal.
No, I was always ready. I'm not sure that is a good idea for I mean this such proposals. But anyway, I always said if United States will support NATO, so I think that it's enough for Ukraine. So I think I did all I had to do. And if somebody is not happy with me, okay. But between us, yes, Americans vote for American president. Each European country vote for their president, and
he's right.
Only Ukraine. With all respect to Lindsay, if I can say Lindsay, we know each other. Yes,
he's right.
Only Ukrainians.
Yeah,
Democrats.
That's Ukraine's decision.
Their president.
Democrats have had the opposite reaction to the Oval Office meeting. Democratic Senator Chris Murphy from Connecticut posted this. What just happened in the Oval Office was a planned ambush designed to help a brutal Russian dictator and hurt America's security. Trump has become Putin's lapdog, and America's global power is hemorrhaging as America sides with dictators over democracy. What an embarrassment.
Oh, geez.
Do you think the confrontation in the Oval Office today was pre-planned, like Senator Murphy suggests?
I don't know.
You don't know? You think maybe?
I don't know. No. I don't. I mean, I don't know about it. I think no. I think it was just a really tough situation because we've been very open, very direct.
What set you off? What made you mad? Because they said your tenor and tone.
It's not about mad. It's not. Brad,
it is about mad. He
how
was mad.
to say? When you are in the United States, and for example, president or vice president or somebody or senators, doesn't matter, big politicians, yes, when they, for example, say that Ukraine is almost destroyed, that our soldiers run away, that they are not heroes, that Ukraine lost millions of civilians, that his president is dictator, you know? What is the reaction? It's not about me. The reaction is that where is our friendship between Ukraine and the United States? That's it. This is filling. And that's why I do not want to lose our great partners at the United States. And I just said that it's not the first time. I said it by phone, and we had some other conversations, and we had in Munich meetings, and I said, please, be correct. I want to be very polite. I mean this, be correct with this number. When you say about the number, each person is important. When you say about 1 million of losses, we don't have any million of losses. When you speak about the territories, maybe some territories and etc., it's not just territory, it's houses, it's people's lives. You know, their fathers, mother, their relatives, grandfather, they died or during this war. Nobody wants to forgive Putin. It's not funny, you know, or fairy tale. This is real life. That's what I said. And when you said it, a lot of times to my big friends who've been here today in our dialogue, and then they again begin to repeat the same things. I think it's not. I mean,
this is all craziness. Good night, everybody.